His GPS said he was in our apartment. Problem was, I was standing in it and he was. It was 8:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Our shared calendar said boys' night. His last text said, grabbing tacos with Matt, home by 9. But my stomach was already in knots before I checked Find My iPhone. I'd been feeling that off-balance, half-dizzy paranoia for weeks. His sudden overshowers, the silenced notifications, the new cologne he swore was a free sample. So I did something I'd never done before. I checked his location. It pinged green, home. I stared around our silent, empty apartment. The sheets were untouched, his keys weren't on the hook, no shoes by the door. I tried refreshing, still home. That's when it hit me, his iPad was still here, connected to Wi-Fi. I sprinted to the bookshelf, yanked it out of the charging drawer, and woke it up. His iMessages were wide open. And there it was. A photo sent 7 minutes ago. A motel room mirror selfie. He was shirtless, smirking, wearing the necklace I gave him for our 2-year anniversary. And behind him, a blurry figure in the mirror, long hair, a hand on his shoulder. The caption, guess who finally booked 2 hours instead of 1? I tasted bile. I took a screenshot, then another, then opened the Find My iPhone app again, this time on his iPad. The iPhone showed home. But the Apple Watch. Motel Pacifica, room 312. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I grabbed my purse, my phone, and his iPad, shoved on sneakers, and walked out. Motel Pacifica was 5 minutes away by car. 20 if you're speed walking with your whole nervous system in fight or flight. I texted my best friend Lexi en route. He's cheating, I'm going in live, hold my bail fund. She replied in all caps. WTF, FaceTime me when you're outside. The lobby was neon lit and dead silent. I stepped in like I was casing a crime scene. A sleepy-looking clerk glanced up. I held up my phone with a smile so fake it made my cheeks twitch. Hey, sorry to bother you. I think I left my wallet in room 312 earlier. My boyfriend booked it, I just need to check. The clerk didn't blink. Pacifica doesn't allow guests back without the keycard. I leaned in. He's still in there. Think you could call the room? He hesitated, then picked up the desk phone and dialed. I heard the line ring. Once. Twice. Then click. A man's voice. Yeah. The clerk said, Ma'am here thinks she left her wallet. Pause. Then a click, no reply. I turned to the clerk. Can you at least tell me when he checked in? The clerk frowned. An hour ago, booked under Michael Evans. My heart nearly exploded. He used his real name. I stepped outside and FaceTimed Lexi. She answered immediately. I held the camera under my chin and whispered, I'm outside the room. Girl, no, do not go in there. I'm not going in, I whispered. I'm going live. I turned the camera, walked toward the stairwell, and positioned myself 1 door down from 312. Hold on, I muttered. Then I pressed go live on Instagram. No warning, no caption. Just me, packing in front of Motel Pacifica, with 300 followers joining by the second. I lifted the iPad, opened the photo, panned slowly to the motel room door. Zoomed in on room 312. The comments blew up. Oh, shit. Is that his side chick? Who goes 2 motels in 2025? Drop the it, sis. Lexi texted, you're gonna break the internet. And then, the door opened. Michael stepped out, fully dressed now, hair still damp from the shower. He looked left, then right, and then locked eyes with the camera. With me. With 2,000 people now watching. I didn't say a word. I just lifted the iPad, showed the mirror selfie, and said, tell them who she is, Michael. He froze. And that's when she appeared behind him. Wearing my hoodie. The one I thought I lost 2 weeks ago. The one I bought on our anniversary trip to Portland. She peeked over his shoulder and said, oh my God, is that Zoe? I didn't even blink. Hi, Cassidy, I said, raising the phone just an inch higher so the whole world could see both of their faces. Her smile dropped like a switch had been flipped. Michael stepped fully into the frame and hissed, "Zoe, turn the fucking camera off." But it was Lexi, still on FaceTime in my AirPods, who said what I was thinking. "Nah bitch, we recording." The live had hit 7,000 viewers. And the comments were getting ruthless. "That's her best friend. OMGTHEHOODI, loudly crying face. She said guess who booked 2 hours, I'm dead." Cassidy looked like she wanted to melt into the linoleum. I kept my voice steady. "So just to be clear, this is my boyfriend of 4 years, and my best friend since 8th grade in a motel together on a Thursday night, wearing my clothes." Michael finally snapped. He lunged forward. "You're insane." I stepped back and shouted, just loud enough. "He's GTTNG aggressive." The live exploded. People started tagging every drama page. Lexi was screen recording like her fingers were possessed, and then a car pulled into the lot. A white Subaru. I recognized it instantly. It was Matt, Michael's boys' night alibi. He parked, got out, and froze when he saw us. "Yo," he said slowly. "Zoe, what are you doing here?" I turned the camera on him. "Tell them where Michael said he was tonight." He blinked, confused. He said he was helping me with, oh shit. He turned to Michael. "You used me as your alibi." Michael looked like he'd been hit by a truck. Cassidy turned pale. Matt just held up both hands and backed away. "Y'all figure that out, I'm not in this." And with that, he got back in his car and left. I ended the live. Right there's no warning, no wrap-up. Just left 14,000 people screaming in the comments with nothing but silence. Michael immediately started in again. "You're a fucking psychopath, you trapped us." I cut him off. "You left your Apple Watch connected, dumbass, you trapped yourself." Then I turned to Cassidy. And this was the only time I let emotion crack my voice. "You used to sleep on my floor when your dad kicked you out. You cried on my couch for 3 months after Tyler dumped you, and you thought I wouldn't notice when my hoodie disappeared." She opened her mouth, closed it, and said, "I thought you two were in a rough patch." I laughed out loud. "You don't fuck someone's man because of a rough patch, Cassidy. You sit her down and bring snacks and ask what the hell is going on." And then I handed her my hoodie. "Keep it, it fits you better anyway." I walked away. Didn't run, didn't cry. I just walked back to my car and sat in the driver's seat with my hands shaking and my phone blowing up. Lexi had already uploaded the screen recording. It was everywhere, Twitter, TikTok, even Reddit. Motel Mike was trending. Someone had memed Cassidy's face next to the words, "Guess who booked 2 hours instead of 1?" And someone else posted side-by-side pics of me and Cassidy in the hoodie with the caption, "She really tried to become her." But then something new hit my phone. A notification from Michael's job Slack. @Michael Evans has been removed from the channel. Followed by a screenshot from someone I didn't know. "Hey Zoe, just a heads up. He used the company card to book the room. HR saw the live." I stared at it. Then stared at the motel behind me. Then said out loud, "What the fuck is about to happen next?" I barely had time to process the HR Slack screenshot before my iPhone screen filled with incoming FaceTime bubbles. Coworkers, mutual friends, strangers who'd somehow gotten my number from the live. I hit Do Not Disturb, tossed the phone on the passenger seat, and tried to breathe. That's when Michael's Apple Watch pinged again on the iPad. Location update, 0.1 mi south, parking lot exit. He was moving. I glanced in the rearview mirror just as the motel lobby door burst open. Michael was dragging Cassidy by the wrist while frantically tapping his phone. She kept yanking her arm free, mascara streaked down both cheeks, my hoodie now inside out and twisted around her waist like a surrender flag. They sprinted toward his car. Correction, my car. The black Civic we co-signed last year, currently parked 2 spaces ahead of me. He fumbled the key fob. The hazard lights flashed. I watched, stunned, as Cassidy jumped into the driver's seat and Michael dove into the passenger side, apparently deciding she should steer while he salvaged excuses. I started recording, purely on reflex. Cassidy gunned the engine, threw it in reverse, and nearly decapitated a bright orange tow truck that had rolled in behind them like destiny on hydraulic lifts. The driver blasted his horn, Michael flailed, Cassidy slammed the brakes. Two guys in reflective vests hopped out, clipboard in hand. I rolled down my window to catch the audio. "Michael Evans," one vest yelled. Michael froze mid-exit. "Yes." Company reported fraudulent use of a corporate credit card. This vehicle's listed as collateral. Cassidy's mouth dropped. "Wait, this is your work card." He ignored her, turning to the guy. "You can't tow a personal car." "Ma'am," Vest 2 said, addressing Cassidy, "would you step out? We need to verify registration." Cassidy looked ready to implode. She stepped out, hoodie slipping off her shoulder, exposing one of Michael's undershirts she'd apparently commandeered. The tow guys cuffed the steering wheel, hooked the undercarriage, and started winching. Michael paced in circles, phone glued to his ear, probably HR, definitely panicking. While they argued, a lift slid into the lot. The rear door opened, and Lexi climbed out like a small, furious hurricane. She, driven across town in 15 minutes wearing pineapple pajamas and a trench coat. She spotted me, stomped over, and shoved a fresh Red Bull through my window. "You good?" I cracked it open. Define good. "Cool, you're alive, let's finish this." Before I could stop her, she spun on her heel and marched straight to Cassidy. "Girl, you dropped something," Lexi announced, overly chipper. She held out a crumpled Motel Pacifica receipt, the one I'd snatched off the lobby counter on my way in, conveniently featuring time, date, room number, and Michael's last 4 card digits. Cassidy stared at it like it was a live grenade. Lexi's voice dropped. "Hope you like going halfsies on corporate fraud." Cassidy whimpered. Michael shoved his phone in his pocket, stomped toward me. "Turn this off, Zoe." "I'm not live anymore," I said. "I'm archiving." His nostrils flared. "You just destroyed my career." I gestured to the tow truck, now lifting the Civic onto flatbed. "Pretty sure you handled that." Tow guy 1 handed Michael a clipboard. "Sign here. Company already froze the card. Cars impounded until they press or drop charges." Michael read the form, face blanching. Cassidy finally snapped. "I didn't sign up for jail, Mike." He rounded on her. "You think I did?" They started shouting, pure reality TV decibel level. I hit record again. Lexi filmed from another angle. A small crowd of motel guests gathered near the ice machine, whispering and pressing phones to windows. Then came the cherry on top, an unmistakable police siren rolling into the lot. Twist 2 already, my heart jackhammered. 2 officers stepped out. One approached Michael and Cassidy, the other walked straight to me. "Ma'am, did you broadcast a live feed from this property earlier tonight?" My stomach dropped. "Yes, officer, but I've ended it." He nodded. "No issue. We're just following up on a complaint, unauthorized filming inside private premises." Cassidy perked up, hope flashing across her tear-slick face. Michael straightened like a man handed a lifeline. I pulled out my phone. Actually, I filmed entirely in public areas and outside. No expectation of privacy in a parking lot, Penal Code 647J, and I have the timestamps. The officer's eyebrow ticked up. "You a lawyer?" "No," I said, handing him my screen. "Just a woman who Googled fast the minute my boyfriend's location lied to me." He reviewed the footage. Then he looked at the motel manager, who'd shuffled over clutching a clipboard. "She's correct," the manager admitted reluctantly. "Lobby cameras confirm she stayed near the entrance." The officer returned my phone with a curt nod. Cassidy deflated. Michael's shoulders slumped. Then the officer added, "However, Mr. Evans, dispatch confirmed an outstanding issue regarding misuse of corporate funds. Please stand by while we verify." Michael opened his mouth, then shut it when Officer 2 produced handcuffs. Cassidy burst into fresh sobs. Lexi whispered, "Karma served hot." I swallowed. This was big, bigger than I'd imagined. Fraud charges meant court dates, restitution, maybe worse. Was it too much? Michael caught my eye. For the first time that night, he looked scared, really scared. "Zoe," he pleaded, voice cracking, "help me, please." I felt something twist, pity, nostalgia. But then I looked at Cassidy, wiping tears with my hoodie sleeve, and the feeling evaporated. Still, a sliver of doubt lodged in my chest. was live stream humiliation and criminal fallout overkill. The officer clicked the cuffs shut. Michael's eyes never left mine. And in that moment, I had to decide. Let justice roll, or pull the plug before the current drowned us all. I didn't say a word. Just stepped back and watched the cuffs go on like they were scripted. Lexi leaned in, whispering, "Don't you dare feel bad." I didn't, not really. But I also didn't cheer. This wasn't just revenge, it was reckoning. And reckoning comes quiet, heavy. The officer walked Michael toward the squad car. Cassidy followed like she thought her crocodile tears would grant her immunity. She grabbed his arm before he ducked into the back seat. "This is your fault," she hissed. "You said it was just sex. You said she wouldn't find out." Michael's voice was barely audible. "Then why'd you wear her hoodie?" Lexi and I exchanged a look. "Oof." Cassidy froze, slapped him across the face, and stormed off to the curb just in time for the tow truck to roll out, with her phone still in the Civic's cup holder. Perfect poetic touch. By morning, I'd gone viral, again. Clips from the live and tow truck footage made it to TikTok under the tag GPS Justice. The mirror selfie became a meme. Someone auto-tuned Cassidy's line, "I thought you two were in a rough patch," into a club remix. And my DMs on fire. Brands, podcast offers, even a boutique law firm asking if I wanted to collaborate on a digital safety awareness campaign. But one message hit different. It was from Michael's boss. "Zoe, I wanted to reach out personally. You deserve to know. Michael was under internal investigation before this. Your video confirmed things we suspected. We're grateful. Also, we're offering you a consulting contract, media handling, maybe HR reform messaging. Interested?" I blinked at the screen. This man's collapse is turning into my career boost. Lexi cackled when I told her, "Girl, God saw what they did to you and said, bet." I told them I'd think about it. Then tossed my phone on the couch and opened Instagram. Cassidy had gone private. Michael's account deactivated. My ex, best friend of 14 years, was now a hashtag, and my ex-boyfriend, well, his mugshot had just dropped on Reddit. I should have felt satisfied. But I still felt itchy, uneasy. Like something didn't add up. Later that night, Lexi and I were halfway into a bottle of wine when she pulled something up on her phone. "Hey, you ever seen this before?" It was a screenshot of Cassidy's old Facebook, circa college. She was tagged in a blurry photo, arm wrapped around a guy who looked suspiciously familiar. I squinted. "Is that Michael?" Lexi zoomed. Same smile, same necklace, check the date. 2017. I froze. I met Michael in 2019. He told me he'd never met Cassidy before I introduced them. Lexi looked at me slowly. He lied. "No," I whispered, scrolling down the timeline, hunting. Another photo. Cassidy's 22nd birthday party. Michael in the background, half hugging her waist. Caption, "Bae showed up after work." And then it hit me. The first time I brought Cassidy around Michael, she hadn't said, "Nice to meet you." She said, "Oh wow, you're dating him." I thought she was being flirty. Now I realized. She was being territorial. Lexi looked like she'd just swallowed glass. "Zoe, you didn't steal him from her, she loaned him to you." My stomach flipped. I shot up, digging through old photos on my own phone. There, from 2019, 4th of July barbecue, Cassidy brought some random guy, said she was trying to move on. I zoomed in. He looked just like Michael, but wasn't. Because the guy she was trying to move on from was Michael. Cassidy and Michael weren't a new betrayal. They were an old habit. I opened my texts. Scanned back months. Little breadcrumbs started glowing like neon. Cassidy texting me before Michael got home. "You should do a spa day today, self-care girl." Cassidy reminding me to turn off, find my on weekends. "You know men hate when you track them, lol." Cassidy pushing me to redecorate the bedroom while I was away at a retreat. Even Cassidy helping me pick a new password when my phone glitched last year. She had my passcode, she knew my Apple ID, she helped him hide. Lexi's voice cracked through the silence. "How long do you think this was going on?" I looked at the oldest Motel Pacifica receipt, I'd grabbed from the lobby earlier. Date, August 3rd. Time, 12:04 p.m. Name, Cassandra L. Evans. Evans? I bolted upright. No fucking way. Cassidy never mentioned her middle name. I checked her Instagram bio. Nothing. Checked her old LinkedIn. Still nothing. Until Lexi dug up a DMV record from a background check site. Cassandra Lynn Evans. Evans? As in? Michael Evans. Lexi's eyes bulged. Oh my God, what if? I held up my hand, thinking, calculating. Siblings? No, she'd never mention him. Cousins? Maybe. But that night, the night I caught them, Cassidy didn't act like a scorned ex. She acted like someone finally reclaiming property. Michael once joked his family's full of chaos, and everyone shares everything eventually. I thought he meant food. Now I wasn't so sure. I picked up my phone, scrolled down to my call log, and hit record before dialing the only person who might give me the truth. Cassidy's mother. It rang twice. Then a soft voice answered. You found out, didn't you? You found out, didn't you? Cassidy's mom didn't sound shocked. She sounded tired, like she'd been waiting years for this call. I need to know the truth, I said. How long have they known each other, really? There was a pause, then a sigh, then. They grew up together. I blinked. Grew up how? Cousins, first cousins, but it wasn't like siblings. Their mothers, my sister and I, we lived on opposite sides of the country most of their childhoods. They only saw each other summers, but they were close, too close. My mouth went dry. Wait, you knew something was off. Cassidy got obsessed with him around 16. He was her older boy crush. We thought it was a phase. Michael played into it, but back then he always had a girlfriend. He strung her along, though. I caught them kissing once at a family reunion. My heart dropped into my stomach. And you didn't say anything. I told her to cut contact. I told her it was wrong, but you've met Cassidy, Zoe, when she wants something. She takes it, I finished. The silence between us was a vacuum. Then she said quietly, he always comes back to her. I ended the call. Lexi just stared at me from across the room. So what, you were the break, the halftime show? No, I said, staring straight ahead. I was the cover. I didn't sleep that night. The internet was still exploding. Memes, duets, parodies. A girl even made a fake Cassidy starter pack with knockoff hoodies and a bottle of mascara that said waterproof but not guilt-proof. But I didn't care. Because my mind was stuck on one thing. This wasn't just cheating. It wasn't just betrayal. It was generational madness. A mess passed down like bad jewelry, wrapped in silence and covered with politeness. Michael knew it was wrong, Cassidy knew it, their families knew it. And all of them chose to act like it was just messy drama, not twisted loyalty. It hit me that my revenge barely scratched the surface. Public humiliation, petty, temporary, cute. I didn't need revenge. I needed obliteration. I called the HR rep who'd reached out the day before. Still want me to speak at your corporate seminar? They did. I accepted. Then I uploaded a TikTok, calm, clean, no yelling. Just me, my voice, a title card that read, when your ex and your ex-best friend are cousins and still don't know boundaries. It was a quiet mic drop. I paired it with a slideshow of receipts. Cassidy's Facebook, Michael's comments, the motel receipts, DMV records, even the family tree snippet Lexi found in an old ancestry database that confirmed the Evans link. I didn't name names. But everyone knew. The video hit 4.2 million views in 8 hours. And then the journalists came knocking. Daily Mail, BuzzFeed, even some off-brand docucrime podcast wanted the exclusive. I said no. Because I wasn't done. Next stop, the wedding. Yup. The one I'd been invited to 6 months ago. Michael's cousin on his dad's side, whom I genuinely liked, RSVP'd for 2. I showed up alone. Cassidy and Michael, not there. Apparently, family health matters kept them from attending. But their aunt, the bride's mom, pulled me aside during the reception and said, "We're all embarrassed, they've always been like this. You were the first good one, we're sorry. I didn't know whether to thank her or punch someone. I settled for smiling politely and finishing my wine. But before I left, I asked for the mic. Just for a toast. To the bride and groom, I began. May your relationship be built on truth, not trauma. And if your family ever tells you to keep a secret that makes your stomach turn, don't. There were chuckles, then silence, then awkward applause, and then a single clap from the back of the room. Cassidy's father. Apparently he had come. And he was smiling. The next morning, I received an anonymous email. No subject line, no body text. Just one video attachment. I opened it. The file loaded, a motel room, timestamped April 2021. Cassidy and Michael, talking, kissing, fully clothed, just intimate, comfortable, familiar. And Cassidy says something that made me drop my coffee. You're gonna marry her, aren't you? Michael shrugs, if it keeps everyone off our backs. Cassidy laughs, and I get to be the maid of honor. Duh, she's gonna ask you, she's stupid in love. She leans her head on his shoulder. Good, I like the view from up close. The screen cut to black. And suddenly, every year of my relationship felt like theater. I was the audience. They were the actors. And I had no idea who filmed the show. I watched the video 4 times before I realized I'd stopped blinking. Who filmed it? Why did they send it now? And how many other times had Michael and Cassidy rehearsed their betrayal while I played the fool in the front row? Lexi sat next to me on the couch, jaw clenched so tight it clicked. That wasn't just cheating, she muttered. That was long game. I forwarded the video to my own email, then uploaded it to a private Google Drive, just in case. I knew if I didn't, I'd be staring down a cease and desist from Michael's newly hired attorney by the end of the week. Because that was the next development. A DM from a burner Instagram account. You're opening yourself up to defamation. Lawyers are watching. To which I replied, so are 7 million people. Wave. I was already deep in talks with a brand that wanted to sponsor my Digital Boundaries series, and Lexi had booked me on a live stream panel about narcissistic abuse and gaslighting. But none of it touched the part of me that still needed answers. So I did something I hadn't done since the night it all started. I went back to the motel. Motel Pacifica, room 114. It was daytime this time, sun glaring off the windows. I walked in through the front desk, heart pounding, and smiled at the manager, a wiry man with a fake tan and a Bluetooth headset. He froze when he recognized me. Oh, you're Zoe, I said. He nodded quickly. We're not looking for any more publicity. I don't need anything public, I said, just answers. I slid the phone across the counter. The video. Tim in the room. Cassidy in the room. Different hair, different clothes. April 2021. You run this place, I said. How did I get a video from your security footage emailed to me anonymously? He stared at the screen, face draining, then looked over both shoulders. Finally, he leaned in. I didn't send that, he said, but my night staff might have. Why? He licked his lips. Because we've seen them here before. A lot before you, before the drama. I blinked. What do you mean before me? They used to book under different names. Fake IDs, but same people, we noticed. How far back does it go? He opened a small drawer behind the desk, pulled out an old black ledger book, paper backups. Flipped through. Then he stopped. Held it up. June 2019. Room 114. Name, C. Ellis. Companion, M.E. Same initials, same room, before you two ever posted photos together. It was 2 weeks before Michael took me on our first date. I stumbled backward, the walls were closing in. Cassidy hadn't stolen him from me. She never let me have him to begin with. Lexi and I drove home in silence, that kind of silence that buzzes. When we pulled into my driveway, I noticed a box on the porch. No return address. I opened it, heart thumping. Inside, a single item. My grandmother's engagement ring. The one I had stored in my old jewelry box, gone missing 6 months ago. I'd assumed I'd lost it in a move. But here it was. With a note. She tried it on while you were sleeping. I sat on the porch and stared at it like it might explode. Michael had taken it, Cassidy had worn it. Maybe for fun, maybe to imagine, maybe for practice. Lexi stood frozen behind me. What the actual fuck? My mind reeled. What else had they taken? What other things had vanished and quietly reappeared? A pair of earrings. A silk robe. Even a pair of red heels I thought I left at a hotel. All gone during times when Cassidy had crashed at our place. All shrugged off by Michael as maybe you left them somewhere. But no, they were collecting my things, wearing my life like a costume. I felt like vomiting. I knew what I had to do next. It wasn't enough to expose them, that had already happened. Now, it was time to invalidate them. So I made a final video. No screaming. No memes. Just me. And that ring. I held it to the camera and said, "This belonged to my grandmother. It went missing 6 months ago. Turns out, the woman I trusted like a sister wore it while sleeping with the man I was supposed to marry. They didn't just betray me. They rehearsed being me." I paused, let the silence land. I'm done letting them rent space in my life. I'm changing the locks. I'm deleting the contacts. I'm unfollowing every version of the person they wanted me to be. I slipped the ring onto a new chain, wore it as a reminder. This isn't a heartbreak story. It's a F***seeking exorcism. Posted, tagged exorcise your ex. Went to bed. When I woke up, the views had passed 10 million. And in my inbox, a message request from a burner account. It simply read, "You still don't know who filmed it." And attached, another video. A different angle. Inside the motel room. The person filming. Their face turned briefly toward the mirror. And I screamed. Because it was someone I trusted more than anyone. It was Lexi. In the mirror. Holding the phone. Grinning. I dropped my own phone so fast it hit the hardwood with a crack. My pulse roared in my ears. My best friend, the only person who stood by me, was in the room the night Cassidy and Michael laughed about marrying me as a cover. Lexi was the one who fed me wine that night. Lexi was the one who suggested we go out and blow off steam. And Lexi was the one who, later that same night, offered to go back to the house to grab my phone charger while I was still crying in the Uber. She had been there in the motel, in that exact room before me. I replayed the video again, slower. At the start, she's crouched behind the open bathroom door, camera angled between the mirror and the bed. It's steady, too steady, like she knew exactly what she was doing. There's a moment where Cassidy walks past the camera, topless. Lexi whispers something under her breath that the mic doesn't fully catch. It sounds like, "She's gonna break when she sees this." I couldn't breathe. Lexi had filmed it. Lexi had sent it. And Lexi had been there the whole time, watching my life implode and helping set the charge. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I texted, "You need to explain, right now." No response. I stormed out of the house and drove to her apartment, still in my pajamas. Banged on the door like it owed me blood. It opened after 3 knocks. Lexi stood there barefoot, hair messy, mascara smudged like she hadn't slept. "Zoe, you were in the room." Her mouth opened, closed, then, "Let me explain. Explain how you filmed my boyfriend cheating on me with Cassidy, sat on it for 2 years, and then handed it over when it was convenient. It wasn't like that. Then tell me how it was." Lexi didn't cry. She didn't flinch. She just cracked. "You were in love with him, and I knew he was a lie. I tried telling you for months, Zoe. Every time I brought it up, you shut me down, so I decided to let it play out. Let it play out. I was waiting for you to see them. My hands were shaking, so you just watched." "No," she said quietly, "I helped." I stared. "I'm the one who changed your phone settings. I'm the one who logged into your iCloud to track him. I'm the one who gave the motel staff $100 to keep the tape. I felt like the floor vanished beneath me. All this time, I thought you were helping me heal, I whispered. Lexi looked straight into my soul. I was helping you wake up. I drove home in a daze. She didn't lie. Not exactly. But she played God with my life, pulled strings, orchestrated the collapse, set me up for a spectacular fall, not to hurt me but to prove her point. And she was right. Michael was a lie, Cassidy was poison, and I had been blind. But I didn't feel grateful. I felt played. And now, the most devastating question. If Lexi hadn't intervened, would I still be with him today? Probably. God, probably. 3 days passed before I spoke to her again. This time, it was at a live podcast panel I'd agreed to do months ago, ironically titled Exposing Betrayal. Lexi showed up in the audience. Midway through, the host asked, "What advice would you give someone who's just realized everyone they trust might be lying to them?" And I said, film it, screenshot it, save it. Because the moment you confront them, they'll rewrite the script. And you need proof that your heartbreak had a source. Not just bad luck. After the show, Lexi came up to me in the parking lot. I wanted to say sorry. I shrugged, you made a movie out of my pain. I gave you the ending you were too afraid to write. That stopped me. She added, and you're still standing. Yeah, I said, but now I trust no one. She nodded like that was the best compliment she'd ever received. We haven't spoken since. Today, Cassidy's account remains locked. Michael hasn't resurfaced. But my story has taken on a life of its own. People ask if I regret going public, if I regret making it viral. And here's the truth. I regret none of it. Because if I hadn't exposed it, I'd still be living inside their lie. I'd still be apologizing for things I didn't do. Still wondering why my gut twisted every time I left the room. Still blaming myself for the silence between us. Instead, I burned it all down. And built a platform from the ashes. So if you're reading this, don't wait for the betrayal to hurt enough. Start looking at the shadows now. Because the camera never lies. But people will lie to your face, steal your ring, crawl into your bed, and call it love. Trust me. I know. Justice served or overkill? Sound off in the comments. Has betrayal ever made you viral?